The Denver Nuggets have decided to start spring cleaning a little early this year. It was reported earlier that GM Calvin Booth and head coach Mike Malone got fired. I mean, that's crazy to see the coach and the GM get fired on the same day. It's usually the GM firing the coach. But, GMs get fired all the time. I figured Mike Malone would get some time because he just won a championship in 2023. So this is a complete shock. Calvin Booth getting fired, that happens all the time. I mean, we all kind of knew he didn't have a contract extension, so I figured it was a wrap for him after this year. But I figured they would at least let him get to the playoffs. But the Nuggets ownership group decided like it was time for a complete change. And it was kind of mind-boggling. Like, this dude won a championship, dude being Mike Malone. Why would he go? Why you get rid of him? He seems to be a player's coach and the players love him. But then, you give things a little bit of time and stories start leaking out. There was a lot of tension behind the scenes with Calvin Booth and Mike Malone. They didn't like each other. They described it as a Cold War. Calvin Booth wanted to fire Mike Malone had he not won a championship in 2023. But obviously he did. Nobody really fires championship coaches unless your name is Jerry Jones. And that's a story for another day. But Mike Malone, got through that, got that championship, won the first, championship in franchise history. He's the all-time winningest coach in Nuggets history in the regular season and the playoffs. I figured he would get a lot more time to build with the team. I figured they would build around him. The players loved him, but then you start to hear these reports, and you see what he said a couple of days ago, called the players full of crap because they didn't review his game plan. It seemed like they didn't care. So it seems like he kind of lost the locker room a little bit. So things just kind of got a little tricky in that regard. They were hanging in there. They were struggling since the All-Star break, 11-13 since then. We all know how it is. Jokic is the guy that makes everything go, but they aren't really as dominant as they should be. So as far as the next steps go, who knows? I'm sure someone to get with Mike Malone. Right now, Denver's going to have head and lead assistant Dave Adelman. And, firing the coaches late into the season, I figured they should have waited till after the playoffs. It's time for the latest fire in the NBA history. Hubie Brown got fired around this time, like 1980 to 81 season. Something like that. So this is weird timing. It throws the team chemistry off. Don't know what Dave Adelman can do come playoff time. Hopefully he can put them on get them on a deep run and they can get hot in the playoffs. But I don't know. I doubt it. Weird things have happened, but who knows what's going to happen. I know Mike Malone, somebody's going to snatch him up. There's going to be a few good openings this offseason. And as I always say, one man's trash is another treasure because I'm sure, there's some teams that could use him. Hell, Memphis may not retain, their interim coach. So Mike Malone going to Memphis could be a possibility, but who knows, though. Crazy times, though.